Hi everyone, so today I'm going to talk about the many similarities between Eren and Odin. We all know that Isayama had used many references when it comes to creating the Attack on Titan universe. And one of the popular theories is that Norse mythology had been used or incorporated in the development of the plot of Attack on Titan. So today we're going to explore the different character parallels between Eren and Odin and how I predict the ending would be based on these character parallels. Now, before we proceed, just a little bit of a disclaimer to everyone. This is just my theory. I could be wrong, and I don't want to engage in any sort of fan wars. These are just my opinions based on how I interpret the manga and how I relate it to literature. This is my first theory video on YouTube. I created this YouTube channel for the sole purpose of making theories related to Attack on Titan. So please smash that like and click the subscribe button for more Attack on Titan contents if I decide to make another one. So let's begin. So first, let's talk about who Odin is. Odin is the supreme god in the Norse mythology. He is often portrayed as a one-eyed god, being guarded by ravens and a couple of wolves. Outside Asgard in the mortal realm, he would often disguise himself as an old one-eyed cripple man with a staff. Sounds familiar? Now for the parallels. The first one would be name. Just like how Odin is a god in the Norse mythology, the name Eren actually means saint or a holy person. And I believe that Eren's name has something to do with his ultimate role in the Attack on Titan universe. Aside from the fact that Eren and Odin actually sounds eerily similar, both names evoke a certain sense of otherworldly power or strength. The name Odin, for instance, can also mean rage or anger, which is an expected behavior of a war god. In the same manner, rage is also the driving force of the Attack Titan. And this is why Eren always chooses to move forward. And the reason for this is because the only way he could save humanity is to be a god himself and obtain the 9 Titan powers. The next parallels would be Eren and Odin both being one-eyed. And the reason behind this. Odin wanted to get the knowledge of the universe from the fountain of the giant Mimir. So in exchange for a sip of this knowledge, Odin had to exchange one of his eyes and offer it to Mimir. And through this, he gained the knowledge of the universe and saw the impending Ragnarok or the end of the world. In the same manner, Eren also obtained the powers of the universe through Ymir Fritz, the first Titan. But in order to do so, he must sacrifice something in exchange. And that is his freedom for hers. And this sense of self-sacrifice have already been foreshadowed even before he met Ymir Fritz, when he chopped off one of his legs and shoved a bullet on one of his eyes. The same way Odin gauged out one of his eyes to give it to Mimir. The third parallel would be the birds. Odin has always been depicted with 2 mystical ravens called Hugin and Munin. This mystical raven serves as the messenger of Odin that brings him information from the mortal realm to the Midgard. It is important to know that Hugin and Mugin actually means thought and memory, which means that these 2 mystical birds are actually an extension of Odin himself. In the same context, the birds in Attack on Titan universe also serves as messengers, appearing in the important events in the manga such as the fall of Shiganshina, the seagulls in the beach and the seagull beside Armin, and most importantly, the birds above Falco. Now, a lot of people seem to be confused as to why Falco has memories of the survey course. My theory is because he shares memory with Eren. Falco, whose name also means falcon, a kind of bird, is the Attack on Titan counterpart of Odin's Munin, his memory raven. And therefore, Falco served his purpose of being a messenger when he unknowingly delivered Eren's letters to the survey course. In the same way, Gabi is the AOT counterpart of Odin's Hugin, the Thought Raven. And this is why Gabi mirrors the behavior of young Eren. Eren and Gabi has the same way of thinking. Take note that Gabi is the original design of Eren, which says a lot about her purpose in the plot. To make it short, Falco and Gabi are 2 personifications of the different aspects of young Eren, and in a way acts as his successors, because he doesn't want any of his friends to inherit Attack Titan. AOT fans recently theorized that the current Eren is not really Eren, but an Eren which is controlled by Ymir. And I highly agree with this, because the real Eren had lost his eyes and is therefore now a slave. And I believe that before that happened, future Eren scattered himself into fragments through the 2 children. But why them? Why 2 children who grew up in Marley? The real enemy is the Titan powers. And who claimed the Titan powers? Ymir Fritz herself. You see, Ymir was never the victim. She released the pigs on her own. This is why I think Ymir kidnapped Armin in the first place. Because Armin is the only person who can find out the truth. The truth that Ymir is actually lying to Eren in order to manipulate him into killing people. And that the memories that she showed him was not the reality. That's another topic to talk about though. But if you want to explore the topic, you might want to check Ascension Anime's 2-part video. Last but not the least would be where Eren and Odin dwells. Asgard is referred to as the enclosure of the gods. It is a fortified city where Aesir or the gods lives, including the supreme god Odin himself. Just like Odin, Eren also lives in a fortified or a walled city or community. And just like how gods dwell in Asgard, the Elgin race, the people who has a godlike ability to transform as a titan, lives in a secluded city too. The only time the gods left Asgard, aside from their occasional trips of course, was when the Ragnarok began. The same way the colossal titans in the walls of Paradise live when the war between Paradise and Marley was declared. Now, we already know that Eren is Odin. How about the other characters? Armin, I believe, is based on 2 Norse mythology characters. First is Vili, Odin's brother and the god of wisdom. Now, I don't think we need any explanation as to how Armin is synonymous to the god of wisdom. Being the god of wisdom, Vili was the one who figured out how to kill Ymir eventually. The second character inspiration for Armin, I believe, is Thor. Now, you're probably wondering how Armin and Thor mirrors each other. My first reason is actually very funny. It's because in the Norse mythology, Thor actually disguised himself as goddess Freya at a certain time. Sounds familiar? And yes, Historia is the Attack on Titan counterpart of the goddess Freya. But that aside, as a colossal titan, Armin definitely gained the reputation of being the strongest, just like Thor's strength in the Norse mythology. In the same way, Mikasa is also a combination of 2 characters in the Norse mythology. First is Ve, Odin's other brother, whom he joined forces to kill Ymir. Second is Jord, Odin's mistress and Thor's mother. It is said that she conceived Thor after Odin saved her from the forest. Fun fact, Jord actually means earth, while Ackerman actually means landowner. Coincidence? From one landowner to another, let us now talk about Levi and the possible character references for him. Tyr is considered the master of one-on-one combat, in the same manner that Levi is considered humanity's strongest soldier. Tyr does not have one arm, due to the fact that he used his arm to bait Fenrir, something that Levi can possibly do in the last remaining chapters. So, how will Attack on Titan end based on its parallels with the Norse mythology? This is through Ragnarok, or the so-called Fate of the Gods. Ragnarok is a series of great battles and cataclysmic events that would eventually lead to the end of the world. After the war, the world would be submerged in water in complete darkness before it resurfaces and gives birth to a new world. Now, what are the parallels between Ragnarok and Eren's rumbling? First would be how it both began with Ymir. You see, Ragnarok is a result of Sutir, not sure how to pronounce that, to avenge Ymir, which was killed by brothers Odin, Vili, and Ve. In the same way, the rumbling is caused by Eren setting Ymir free, which is just a fancy way of saying he'll take revenge for what the humanity had done to Ymir. Which I believe is what Ymir really wants, or at least what the Earth Devil wants. You see, living in the roots of Yggdrasil, the Tree of Life, is Nidhogg, a dragon or serpent that eats up the root of the Tree of Life, and its primary goal is to kill everything that lives. This is why Nidhogg symbolizes loss of honor and status as a villain. In Attack on Titan universe, Nidhogg comes in the form of the organism that attached itself to Ymir. After all, this organism lives under the tree, the same way Nidhogg does. But we'll get back to that later. The next parallel between the rumbling and Ragnarok would be the battle between the Aesir gods and the giants. The Aesir gods got into an epic battle with Loki, Sutir, and vengeful spirit from the underworld. The same way the remaining Survey Corps and the Titan Shifters are currently fighting Eren, Ymir, and the past Titans which was summoned by Ymir in the latest chapters. Now, I don't want to keep everyone's hopes up, but in Ragnarok, the fallen heroes were also summoned to fight these soldiers from the underworld. This is why I'm thinking of the possibility that somewhere along the future chapters, the dead scouts might be summoned to fight these titans. But that's just my wishful thinking. Although that really mirrored what happened in Ragnarok. I don't think it's Isayama's style though. So taking these Norse mythology parallels into account, the ending would probably be most similar to Ragnarok or Fate of the Gods, total annihilation and rebirth. The following could be the possible scenario of the ending. Note that the battles are not exactly aligned to the characters. Here's a clip from See You in History to explain the Ragnarok.
But the gods knew that their destiny was not to hide behind the powerful walls constructed by the giant builder. Their destiny was to honorably face the forces of darkness in the open field. So Odin, on his glorious eight-legged horse, ordered the attack. The army of the gods advanced against their enemies. When their enemies clashed, the impact was so immense that it made Yggdrasil, the tree of the worlds, tremble. Loki guided Hel's armies of living dead, composed of the dead who had experienced an unworthy death. Frey, the Vanir god, fought bravely on his golden boar next to the Asgardians. The valiant god attacked Surtur, the mighty leader of the Muspelheim fire giants. Frey did his very best, but that was not enough to defeat Surtur, who killed the Vanir god with his flaming sword. Tyr, the warrior god who sacrificed his hand for the gods in order to trap the wolf Fenrir, also fell after facing Garm, the powerful wolf of Hel, who defended the world of the dead. However, before his death, Tyr still managed to stick his sword into the hellish beast's heart. The battlefield was shaken when Jormungandr, the serpent of the world, appeared ready to fight. The creature unleashed a mist of venomous gases that killed the warriors of the gods. After encountering the serpent, Thor felt an immense impetus because he had been waiting for the decisive battle between him and his old rival. The fight between Thor and Jormungandr was nothing short of epic. The gigantic serpent attempted to swallow the Asgardian hero as the latter dodged his strikes and counterattacked with powerful hammer blows. The god of thunder managed to hit Jormungandr, forcing it to plunge into the ground, wounded. Thor unleashed a deadly blow to the serpent's head. The Asgardian gods and warriors cherished their champion's victory. Nevertheless, Thor's strike was so strong that it shattered Jormungandr's poisoned pockets, spreading a venomous cloud around Thor. Thor dropped on his knees and fell dead, poisoned. Fenrir, the giant wolf and son of Loki, devoured all those who opposed him, but he wanted to find Odin, his mortal enemy. The supreme god of Asgard knew that his destiny was to fight the terrifying wolf, Loki's son, and he did not run away from that opportunity. Odin spurred Sleipnir and advanced against Fenrir. But Odin's destiny was not to get out of this clash alive. Fenrir opened his massive mouth and devoured the father of all. The gigantic wolf mocked the gods after his victory against Aesir's wisest. That vexation filled Vidar's heart with hate, Odin's son. His fury gave him massive strength. Vidar attacked Fenrir, and the latter tried to bite him, but Vidar stuck his feet into the wolf's tongue, and, with his strong arms, pushed his teeth away. The strength he put in was so colossal that he tore Fenrir's jaw in half. The gigantic wolf was dead. Even with his son's death, Loki felt satisfied with the carnage while watching the fall of the gods, one after the other. Heimdall, the guardian of the Rainbow Ridge, advanced between the army of the dead of Hel, making his way to Loki. Heimdall and Loki dueled, and the plasticity of the quarrel made it look like a deadly dance. Loki and Heimdall hit each other several times. The duel did not have a winner, and both died. The giant Surtur burned the world with his sword. The flames took over everything. There were no fighters on the side of the living, nor on the side of the dead. Only ashes remained. The flames reached Asgard, and the palaces were consumed by rivers of fire. The water level of the oceans rose to form a major flood. There was nothing else on Earth. The age of the Aesir gods was over. The waters that swept the earth receded, and in the earth that emerged after the flood, plants started to blossom again. A new sun emerged and put an end to the darkness that had taken over the earth. The Yggdrasil tree did not withstand the damage during the Ragnarok and fell, but inside the great ash tree, a secret surprise was concealed. The gods had hidden a couple of mortal beings so that the human race could resist the events of Ragnarok. The world will be repopulated again thanks to the love of this couple. The Asgardian kingdom had disappeared, but a new kingdom called Ithvalor would take its place.
In the season 4 ending credits, we can see a phoenix, and from its ashes springs what seems to be a graphic representation of life. This symbolizes the rebirth and the role of Gabi and Falco in repopulating the world. The power of the path is finally given to one person, and this power is choice, the true meaning of what it means to be free. Humanity is finally free. The one last important detail in this first theory is the fact that Falcon actually means victory. In the end, everyone won. So that's it, guys. That's my ending theory of Attack on Titan based on Norse mythology. But then again, I'm not claiming that this is the ending, and I am open to discussions, but not arguments, okay? In the end, we'll never know how Isayama will end the manga. But whatever route he takes, I'm sure it's gonna be epic. So anyways, thank you for watching. Please do tell me in the comment section if you want a part 2 for a more detailed explanation. Bye!